I think trying to do this video is going to kill me. I have recorded this video. I think this is number 5. The first time I got too tired. The second time I got tired but tried to push through. The third time, both of my audio channels in OBS were open. I had 2 other times where I just didn't finish it. And now here we are for the, oh no, I guess this is 6. This is the 6th time I've tried to make this video. So here we are, number 6. Before I get into the video, I do kind of want to mention 2 things. God, this is going to kill me. I do want to, there's a couple things I want to mention. One, thank you guys. Thank you for everything, all the input, all the feedback. You guys know who you are. It's really helping me to continue enjoying this while also learning from every video. Every video I do different, whether it's from the filming process or the editing process, to try and make it faster and more efficient.
Wanna see some real speed, bitch? I'll show you some real speed.
Because I am in school and I gotta work and I'm a busy boy. But I do appreciate all of the feedback. Number 2, every week I'm gonna start doing question of the week. And this week's question is only applicable if you use a loofah in the shower. If you don't use a loofah in the shower, you should be using a loofah in the shower. It gets all the nooks and crannies. So my question is, when you're putting your soap on the loofah and you put your soap back, you forget where you put the soap on the loofah? I always forget. I also have clear soap, but let me know in the comments below if you know where your soap is when you put the soap in the, you know what I mean. You know what I'm talking about. All right, so this week we're going to be talking about demonetization on YouTube. I'm going to go over how it started and kind of why it started, what causes it now, and kind of how to avoid it. And as always, if you have any questions, feel free to hop into the Twitch chat. I do stream every Saturday through Monday at 7 CST. So demonetization on YouTube, as we kind of understand it today, started or is the result of a late 2016 TOS update. And YouTube was updating their TOS to be a more family-friendly platform, and nobody really noticed until about February of 2017. And that's when Coca-Cola, Dr. Pepper, Johnson & Johnson, the UK government all started pulling their ads from the platform. And they started pulling their ads because they're being shown on videos about like terrorism, racism, any bad video that you can think about, their ads were being shown on it. And when you're a Fortune 500 company or entity, you don't want that on your brand, right? It looks bad for them. So they took their ads off. So this period of time would eventually be dubbed the first adpocalypse. And I use first very strategically, and you'll find out here in a second why. So during the adpocalypse, there was a pretty brutal adjustment period for creators who had kind of been on the platform for a really long time, because up until this point, they had a lot of creative liberties, we'll call it, that they could take with their content. But with how fast YouTube grew, it was kind of inevitable that kids would eventually make it onto the platform.
I am inevitable.
And if you look at it from a business perspective, family-friendly content makes the big bucks. Just look at any Disney Pixar movie. Those movies make a shiz ton of money. I also think this is why you don't hear a lot about websites like Dailymotion, where you can literally post whatever you want. And a lot of companies don't want to put their ads on a website like that because they don't know what their ads are going to be being played on, because you can literally post whatever you want. While there was a pretty rough adjustment period for everybody on the platform, everybody kind of got used to it, that this was like the new normal on YouTube, and kind of moved on. And then the second, third, and fourth adpocalypses hit, and it for the same exact reason. People are posting stuff they shouldn't have been posting, and then companies started pulling their ads. And this, 4 times later, people still didn't get the message. But here we are today. Now that we have a mutual understanding of demonetization on YouTube, all of the adpocalypse stuff, why it is the way it is, I kind of want to move into the 2 big reasons I see videos getting demonetized today. So the first thing I want to go over on why I see a lot of videos getting demonetized nowadays is cursing. So again, if we look at this kind of from a business perspective, cursing isn't commercially viable. We're going to use the Disney Pixar movie example again. You don't see cursing in those movies. Family-friendly content will make the big bucks. With that said, I'm not saying that if you do curse in your video, it'll indefinitely get demonetized. But if at the bottom corner, your video needs the little explicit tag that every Eminem CD has, your chances of getting demonetized are a little higher. As a content creator, you want to give YouTube as few reasons to demonetize you as possible, right? So any of you who know me in real life or have been onto the stream, you know that I kind of have a little bit of a potty mouth. But it is in my best interest, not only just as a content creator in general, but as a small content creator, to keep it PG on the channel. I want the best chances of my videos getting recommended or putting on that little sidebar thingy when you're watching a video. I want the best chances possible. So I'm gonna keep it, clean. I'm gonna play by the rules. So the second thing that I would kind of want to go over today is the actual content that you're posting. This is what started the adpocalypses, the series of adpocalypses, and this is what's going to continue to cause them. It's the stuff that's actually in your video. And I feel like this section is kind of common sense. Just don't post bad stuff and you'll be fine. With the exception that I do think there's one genre that YouTube is a little overzealous on demonetizing, and that's gun channels. I'm gonna use Demolition Ranch as my example for this because it's a great example. So if you don't know, the channel is run by a guy named Matt, and he is just the nicest guy that you could ever run into. He's a family man who likes his guns. And his whole channel is just him taking funny guns and blowing up funny stuff. That's it. He's not using his guns to threaten anybody. He's not trying to commit acts of harm. He's just a dorky dude who likes to shoot dorky stuff. And I know for, I want to say, a good 2-year period, he was having a huge issue with YouTube demonetizing his stuff just because there's guns in it. And if you're kind of looking at it from the not commercially viable perspective, I would have to disagree, because that channel has over 9 million subscribers at the time of writing. It's constantly going up. His channel is exploding, and it's because he's a nice guy and it's fun to watch. Now that I've kind of gone over the 2 big reasons I see videos getting demonetized, I have 3 things I want to go over to kind of stiff arm that YouTube demonetization. Before I get into these, this should be kind of a given, but I want to say it anyway. YouTube ad revenue should not be your primary source of income. This is kind of a sentiment being echoed throughout the community right now, but if you haven't heard it, now you have. So the first workaround I want to talk about is doing paid promotions, right? So this is when a company offers you X amount to promote them on your video. If I had $1 for every time I've heard,
"This video is brought to you by Raid Shadow Legends,"
I'd have more money than Jeff Bezos. So there's a great video on the Alpha Gaming channel where Harris Heller goes into this a little bit more in depth, and I'll link it in the description below. But a quick summary of it is that these companies talk, right? So if you're really great to work with, that company will let other companies know, and you'll have a lot more opportunities. But this is also kind of a double-edged sword, where if you're not so great to work with, that company will let other companies know and you'll have less opportunities. So you have to make sure you kind of played your cards right with this one. Number 2 on skeeting that YouTube demonetization is doing merchandise, right? So if you can put your logo on it, sell it. T-shirts, baseball hats, ballpoint pens, mugs, anything. Put your logo on it and sell it. And this one kind of is a 2-for-1, right? So not only are you making money from selling your stuff with your logo on it, but it's also kind of a free advertisement, right? This shouldn't be your main goal when selling merch. Your main goal should to be able to provide something of value to your viewers, right? But a positive side effect of that is little Timmy wears a Tyrant shirt and goes to school, and little Timmy's buddy asks him about it and go home and watches Tyrant stream, which I don't recommend. Timmy, you better be 18 plus. But that's kind of the point I'm trying to get at here. So the third and final way that you can kind of skeet the YouTube demonetization is by creating a Patreon, right? So this is a great way for your viewers to be able to directly support you, and for you to be able to give your viewers exclusive content. And that's kind of the only stipulation with the Patreon, is you have to make sure that it is worth your viewers' money and time, because you don't want somebody paying, or you don't even really want it. Think about it from your perspective, right? If you're giving somebody $10, I would expect something of equal value in return. So that's kind of the only stipulation with Patreon, is you have to make sure that you're giving them something of equal value, whether it's exclusive videos, pre-release videos. You can do like merch drops. The other great thing with Patreon though is you can do tiers. So at your first tier, you can have whatever. And then at your highest tier, I guess that's kind of inverse. At your highest tier, you can have everything from the last 4 tiers plus something else. And that's just a way to be able to give back to your viewers. Although I did break each of these workarounds up into their own individual categories, that doesn't mean you can't do all 3. The only stipulation with that, though, is if you are going to do a Patreon along with everything else, you have to make sure that, again, the value is there. But you can do paid promotions and have merchandise and do a Patreon. You just maximize all points of contact that you can to make that revenue. Just don't be money hungry about it. Okie dokie, artist jokey. I can't do that. All right, guys, that's the video for the week. Let me know if you have any comments. If you have any questions, feel free to hop in the Twitch chat. Again, every Saturday through Monday, 7 CST. And I'll see you guys next week.